Hi and welcome. My name is Tolan and I'm the co-founder of Productivity Me. In this video, we're going to look at the idea of hiding and unhiding both columns and rows within Microsoft Excel. So if this is interesting to you, go ahead and join us in this video. All right, if you want to follow along, go ahead and open up exercise file 05.02. So in the last video, we looked at how to insert columns and rows and then how to delete those columns and rows. But there are going to be occasions where maybe you have some data and you don't actually want to delete that data. You don't want to delete a column, you don't want to delete a row, you just don't want it to be visible. And the way that you would modify or you would actually address that problem is perhaps with hiding. So let's say that we want to print out some version of this employee reference sheet, or maybe we're going to share it with a colleague, and we don't want them to see individual pieces of information like the salary department, maybe not the email. So let's say that we don't want them to see the hire date. We don't think it's relevant that they see the salary, and we don't think it's relevant that they see the department. So the way that we would do that is we would consider hiding these individual columns, perhaps certain rows. You can hide a column by selecting that column and then right-clicking and going to hide. You'll now notice that that column is hidden, and we can tell we have a hidden column because it goes C, D, F rather than C, D, E, F. Now we can also hide this column here by selecting the column and then going to Format, Hide and Unhide, and then we'd go to Hide Column. Lastly, we could go ahead and we could hide a column by clicking this and then using a keyboard shortcut. We could achieve this by pressing the keyboard shortcut Control-0. Control-0 would also hide that selected column. All right, so now we have the columns of A, B, C, D. And rather than E, F, and G, we just have H. If we wanted to unhide those individual columns, we have a series of ways to do that. The first would be to select those columns and then, or I guess select the columns on either side, right click, and then go to Unhide. That would unhide those individual columns. So let's say that we had hidden this column here and we wanted to unhide it. We could select these and go to Format. On our Home tab, we go to Hide and Unhide and then Unhide Columns. That too would work. Lastly, if we had, say, hidden this column, if we wanted to unhide it, you notice that between these two individual sheets, we're missing, or these two individual columns, we're missing an actual column, the column E. So if you scroll between two sheets that are adjacent, we just have this individual icon for our cursor, essentially a black line, a solid black line with two arrows pointing in either direction. If you move it between two columns that are between two columns of which one is hidden in between, you get this new form of cursor. You can see it's kind of two split arrows, or you go from a single solid line to a split line there. You double click and it would unhide that. So again, if we wanted to, say, hide this, we could come and unhide it by bringing our cursor in between the two individual columns where there's a hidden column and double clicking. Now a similar process would be used if we wanted to, say, hide certain rows. We could select those rows, we could right click and we could go to hide. We could say, select these individual rows and come up here to Format and then also go to Hide or Unhide, Hide Rows. If we wanted to then unhide them, we could either select these individual rows on either side that have 3 and 8. We can right click and we could go to Unhide, or we could say come here. See, I believe it would be here, and we could double click. So there are a series of different ways that you can go ahead and hide and or unhide both columns and rows. In this video, we just want to cover some of the more basic ways to do that. In our next video, we'll look at changing the widths of columns and rows so that you can fit the data or information that you want in a more aesthetic way in either a column or row. So join us for that in the next video, and we will see you again soon. All right, thanks for watching. Bye for now.